So, my friends, I present to you my projected opening night roster for the Vancouver Canucks. This is a cap compliant roster. It's a roster that has 2 extra defensemen and 1 extra forward. So 13 forwards, 8 defensemen, 2 goalies, 23 men on the roster. And our current cap hit is $93.1 million. So I have $2.4 million of cap space. So that could be a second line center. It could be, actually, I'll talk about that in a second. So my top line is Elias Pettersson between Jake DeBrusk and Brock Besser. I think Petey and Besser is a better combo than Petey and Garland. Besser is paid like a top line player. Pettersson is obviously our undisputed number 1 center. And then Jake DeBrusk, if you heard him on 100% Canucks with Shannon and Ferraro, he talked about that one of the lures to coming here and signing long-term was the opportunity to play with Pettersson. That doesn't mean he gets to play with him just because of that. But he, in a very humble moment, he said that he could have done more. So to help Petey, he admitted that Jake DeBrusk admitted that he's a streaky player, but he basically said that, in so many words, he said you can't just blame Petey for his say inconsistency or up and down season. And DeBrusk was a part of it. DeBrusk wants to be part of the answer, and you got to love hearing that kind of talk from DeBrusk. I do think Evander Kane's going to get a look. I think they can switch things up. I think Kane brings a nice, combination of speed and size and nastiness, and Petey could use that on his line. But I do think that, to me, this is the most skill you have and the best chance to have a true number 1 line. So I have Pettersson with Besser and DeBrusk. That means my second line, remember, we're presuming no new additions yet. So I have Philip Hito between Evander Kane and Connor Garland. And I do like this line. Garland and Kane can both get in the corners, can different size guys, but they're both kind of annoying to play against. Kane will bring more of the size, a little older too. And then Garland, we know that he's a workhorse. Often looks very busy. Doesn't always result in results, but I do think with new contract and everything, I think he's going to be very motivated to do well. And Hito's got great speed. We obviously worried about his health, but he does have a lot of good speed. So let's go with Hito between Kane and Garland. Their speed, their size, and I do think that they're going to be a nice complement to our top line. Pius Suter's gone, so I have Atu Ratu sliding into that third spot. And I like this. This is a good third line. Niels Höglander and Kiefer Sherwood. It's not that expensive of a line. And we know that Sherwood, he set the record in hits. We know that Höglander is not afraid to play physical. Höglander has got good quickness and speed. Sherwood's decent speed. Ratu's not the fastest guy, but he's going to win a lot of draws. And I think this could be a pretty good third line. And they can chip in offensively. And they'll, defensively, they're okay. They're not the most defensively stout line I've ever seen. So maybe that's one thing that we'll have to keep an eye on for sure. And then Teddy Bluger, he's the fourth liner for me, fourth line center. And then you have Drew O'Connor, who, with that salary, you got to have him in the top 12. And then Linus Karlsson, who had a really great season with Abbotsford and showed that he's got a knack for scoring around the net. Maybe a good guy to have on PP2 as well. And then I have Niels Oman, another center, and he's my extra. But that could be Lekkerimäki, that could be Baines, that could be Sasson, it could be Kravtsov, it could be so many guys, but they all make between $750,000 and $1 million. So from a cap hit perspective, there's not much of a difference. Those are my 13 forwards. Then on D, I think the top 6 is set. I really do. In that before Tyler Myers got hurt at the last season, this is how they ran with for a large stretch of games. They had Hughes with Hronek, Marcus Pettersson with Tyler Myers, and they DPD with Derek Forbert. And both DPD and Forbert can play on the right side, but at least the way the Canucks would tweet out the lineups before every game, it was DPD on the left, and it was Derek Forbert on the right. Again, interchangeable. I think Joseph was brought in to be a 7th defenseman or a first guy up from Abbotsford. And then I have Victor Mancini as my extra defenseman on the right. Mancini did play a handful of games at the end of last year, but that was because Tyler Myers got hurt. So your right side was Hronek, Forbert, Mancini, or Hronek, Mancini, Forbert, whatever order, doesn't matter. So those are the 8. You'll notice that Tom Villander's not in there for me. I do think there's no rush. There's no rush for Tom Villander. He just signed his ELC, thank goodness. Didn't go back into the draft or become a free agent. So I think that Verlander, there's no problem with him starting in Abbotsford. There really isn't. He's young. If he has a dazzling training camp, if he has an amazing preseason, then fine, bring him up, bring him ahead of Mancini. Or what you can do is keep Joseph in Abbotsford, and then you get Mancini and Verlander as your 7 and 8, or put Mancini or Verlander as your third guy on the right side, and then one of DPD or Forbort sits. So I could see a world where this Joseph here is instead Tom Verlander, then technically Forbert's over here, and then you know what I mean, right? I could see a world where it's Hughes, Pedersen, and Forbort on the left, Hronek, Myers, Mancini, Verlander on the right, and Joseph starts in Abbotsford. But I do think our top 6 is going to be the way that they liked it last year. I remember it's Adam Foote who coached the D and now is our head coach. Hughes, Hronek, Marcus Pedersen, Tyler Myers, DPD with Derek Forbort, and then of course Demko and Lankinen as your goaltender. So that is my opening night roster. That is based on no more changes. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I have a sneaky feeling that the Canucks are going to toll that cap space until something happens, something shakes loose, maybe late October, early November, and you have a cap compliant roster and some wiggle room, right? All these guys that are the extras. Neil Zaman, 825. Joseph at 775. Mancini at 870. Like I said, they're interchangeable with guys like Bain, 775. Sasson, 775. Kratzov, 775. Lekkermaki, 900. And on D, you have Verlander at 950. I think he's the first call-up. Kudryavtsev maybe down the road. Goaltenders, the Tolopilo, I think is next one up if anything happens to Lankinen or Demko. So there we go. My projected opening night roster for Thursday night, October 9th, when the Vancouver Canucks host the Calgary Flames.